Okay, today we're playing a game on Hanamura. The average SR of this game was 1,789. We will be playing Zenyatta the entire way through. And our current team composition is D.Va, Roadhog, McCree, Tracer, Reaper, and Zenyatta. So, two reasons to be sad. First off, we don't have a Mercy, baseline. Very sad, because Mercy's really strong. Second reason to be sad, our only healer is Zenyatta, which is just not really enough healing. Lucio also is not really enough healing, because they're both off healers, so they're really bad at solo healing. And Moira is also not great at solo healing. She can do it, but you do have to be pretty good at Moira already. So, in this circumstance, I would recommend changing to Mercy, because just baseline, it's very hard to win without a Mercy in most circumstances, especially if the enemy team has a Mercy and yours doesn't. It's just like, you just have a lower percentage chance of winning at that point. And just baseline, should not play Zenyatta if you're going to be solo healing. You should play Mercy, Ana, or Moira if you're really feeling it. Though Mercy is easily the best one. And not everyone likes playing Mercy. I know, Mercy's not exactly the most exciting hero to play in the world. And it can end up feeling like you are very beholden to your team. But it's just like, you're already beholden to your team to some extent, unless you are a god and will like hard carry your team, in which case, okay. But most of the time you're pretty dependent on your team anyway. And just not having a Mercy is like a very serious detriment right now. So, anyway, let's start the game. So we're attacking Hanamura first, even though we are solo healing as Zenyatta the entire way through this game. I'm going to spoil it for you now. We actually end up winning. Because the enemy team's really bad. Just wait until we're defending. You'll see what I mean. So, we've lost Reaper already, because he attempted the most illegal maneuver imaginable and tried to teleport up into that window, which is just not a good idea. And he just got promptly murdered, and then we watched the rest of our team slowly kill themselves on Bastion. So Bastion's probably got his ult by now, which is very sad, because suddenly he's going to turn into a tank while we're trying to go in. Which will be sad, obviously, you know. Because, Bastion's ult is pretty good. It's no Dragon Blade, but it's still pretty good. It kills a lot of people. So there goes McCree getting picked off right as the rest of our team is getting back. There goes D.Va dying again. And so there's not really very much we can do about that one because we're playing Zenyatta right now. So if we're playing Mercy, there's something we can do about it because we can res these people who so they can then immediately make another very poor decision, but it makes it harder for your team to get staggered like that. So D.Va has changed to Reinhardt, which is not really an improvement for that exact reason. It's a very interesting decision to change to Reinhardt, because Reinhardt is not very good against Bastion, because it is very difficult to approach into the Bastion, because your shield kind of gets shredded really quickly. So that's a very interesting decision. I wouldn't have recommended that one. So against all odds, Reaper has managed to kill Bastion. And Mercy has just res Zenyatta. So this is basically our time to go right now. Hopefully, Mercy doesn't have Valkyrie. Now she has Valkyrie. But she did not res Bastion. That means we can still keep going. So, Roadhog's in there touching the point right now. And we've also got a Zarya now. We got a lot of tanks, and we're only playing Zenyatta still. It's getting even harder for us to heal our team. So, we ended up not actually having anything to do with this, really, and there wasn't very much extra we could have done, honestly, because we just watched our team kill themselves for a while on the enemy team, and then eventually Reaper managed to kill Bastion, and then that was basically what started off the train of events. Mercy ulted late, didn't res the Bastion, they were losing so much ground by that point, McCree died, it was terrible for them, and we ended up getting to go in. So, however, we now have 6 minutes to take the second checkpoint. We don't do it. We don't even get the first tick of the checkpoint. And yet we win this game, despite not even getting the first tick on the second checkpoint. So, think about that. That's how you know it's going to be a really good round on defense. So, Our team are going varying ways right now, and this is a very bad way to go, but it is the way the majority of our team have decided to go, so it's basically where we're going to go. So we have now started to use Transcendence, which is fair enough. We are engaging the team fight, and there's no way we're healing all these fools without Transcendence. But before you use Transcendence, it is worth remembering you cannot put your orbs on people while you are in Transcendence. So before you use Transcendence, try and put the Discord orb on this boy. Or maybe this girl. Because you can't use it while you're using Transcendence, and you want it to be out there on somebody. Even if you don't, like, pick out the better people to put it on, just put it on someone. It's better on somebody than it is on nobody. There are a few heroes that follow this train of thought. Like, Winston, when you use Primal Rage, you can't use your bubble, so you want to put the bubble down before you use Primal Rage, because otherwise that cooldown is just sitting there doing nothing for an extended period of time. Same concept with Zenyatta's orbs. They're better out there on somebody than on nobody, and for the next few seconds, you can't put them on anybody, so you want to put them both out on somebody. Ideally the Bastion, because we want that boy dead, but by the time we come out, the Bastion is actually still alive, so excellent focusing from our team. And we are now having to slowly advance towards the point to keep line of sight on people, and they have a Widowmaker. I've tried to push the back button, and YouTube didn't really agree with that one. We don't really want to be touching the point as much as possible, and we know they have a Widowmaker because she tried to shoot at us. Try and, like, if you like end up in the situation, try and just like play around these pieces of cover because it's the best you got. Like, sitting on the bridge is not very helpful unless you're going to sit, like, on the far end of the bridge, because then you can actually, like, use the edges as cover and you're far away from the enemy team. Just standing on the bridge is not great, because you're just out in the open, and there's nothing for you to use as cover. Baseline thing, whenever you're positioned, just like in the game in general, when you're positioning somewhere, you want to try and position near something that you can use as cover. Because if you suddenly need cover, and then you have to go out of the way to get there, that can end up leaving you dead. So if you're just like playing close to the edge and like peeking the corner anyway, it's just easier. Suddenly McCree starts using Deadeye, you don't have to go like that. You don't have to go like that, you can just go like that. Way easier. In general, try and stay near something you can use as cover. Try to avoid standing out like in open space, like on the bridge, because Zenyatta is really easy to kill. You don't need to make it easier for them by like being out in open space. And it's like, yeah, we're further back because we're on the bridge, but there's no cover on the bridge is like the issue. Unless you stand like way far back on the bridge. But then it can be difficult to actually see things that are going on. And they have a Widow, so we have to play around Widow. We have to try and avoid being in Widowmaker's line of sight as much as possible, because even if the Widow is bad, and let's be real, she's gonna be bad, she's in Silver SR, but like even if the Widow's bad, she can one-shot you, and Zenyatta is not hard to hit, you know? It's a pretty easy guy to hit, so just play around cover more. Don't stand out in the open, especially when there's a Widow. Fun fact with Zenyatta when the game came out, Zenyatta used to only have 150 health when the game came out, and Widowmaker's charge shot on your body did 150 damage. So Zenyatta was mega ultra hard countered by Widowmaker because she could just one-shot him from hitting him in the body anywhere. And it's like, well, what about Tracer? Tracer is small and hard to hit and mobile. Zenyatta is literally a floating cube for a hitbox. Like, he got fucked by Widowmaker. It was sad. Then they nerfed a few things and buffed Zenyatta. Can you just imagine having 150 health as Zenyatta? What a sad day that was. A sad, like, month. Well, it was more than that. It would have been probably like 3 months, because Blizzard is not exactly the fastest balance patchers in the world. So, we've been waiting for our team to regroup. We still have a lot of tanks. We should still not really be playing Zenyatta, because, like, how on earth are we going to heal 3 tanks plus everybody else? So, there goes Reinhardt. He shouldn't be doing that, but it's what he's deciding to do, and then we got killed by Widowmaker. And we know they have a Widowmaker, so we just have to be, like, really careful about where we're standing, because we can see her. She's up there. And then now we can definitely see her, because she killed us, but we can see her before that as well. Come on, YouTube. There we go. Like, we can see her. She's up there. And this is, like, definitely Widowmaker, because no one else on their team can even get up there. So, just, again, think about where we're standing. We got this big open space in front of us, and we're standing, like, straight in the middle of it. When we should just be, like, hugging a wall, so that we can stay duck behind it, and just, there's cover. And just, like, think about what the Widow sees right now. She sees you as, like, the duck in the fairground. You're just, like, this floating box in this big open space. Like, we don't want it. We want to be near cover. Near cover. Don't be out in the open like this. And it's like, Widow can still one-shot you, yeah, and, you know, being next to cover doesn't necessarily help with that, because she can still one-shot you, but just being out in the open makes it easier for her, because imagine, she misses, right? And then so you see it, you're like, oh, fuck, I gotta get to cover. If you're just near cover, you can just keep peeking the corner. And you got a projectile weapon as Zenyatta, you can just keep peeking the corner over and over and over again and make it harder for the Widowmaker to hit you. Just floating out in the middle of open space makes it very easy for the Widow to hit you. There goes Widow's shot. She didn't hit us that time. Feels good. So we would really like to stop going through the center doorway, because it's just, it's bad times going that way. Unfortunately, Reinhardt's got other ideas, as we can see. Also, people getting picked off. Oh, here comes Zarya, getting hooked into people. Up, yanked back over again. No, bad times. She manages to live against all odds. Can you imagine? Can you believe that we're gonna win this game? Bearing in mind we are still solo healing as Zenyatta on defense. Can you believe it? This is the kind of shit that happens in low SR. Isn't it amazing? There's honestly, like, not a lot we can do as Zenyatta to control the outcome of this game, because, like, there's only so much you can do to save your teammates from doing stupid shit like this. And Zenyatta has almost no options. If you don't have Transcendence, there's nothing you can do. And even then, that might not be enough. This is one of the reasons that Mercy is better. She can undo people's mistakes, which is a big deal. And you also... It's worth remembering that in low SR, people are bad at killing other people, right? Like, this is the thing that changes the most from low SR to high SR. The time it takes to kill somebody just gets lower and lower and lower as you go up. Where in low SR, it takes people forever to kill something, because they're terrible at killing people. They're bad at the hero they're playing and at the game, so it takes them forever to kill people. So Mercy makes it even harder for people to kill people, because she has very consistent healing, and then you're in Valkyrie and you're healing everybody, and then you revive them and they have to kill that person again. And then in a team fight, if they don't have a Mercy, you do have a Mercy, they have to kill more people than you do, straight up, because you just... Valkyrie, you revive 2 people. So the enemy team effectively has to kill 8 people, whereas you only have to kill 6 people if they don't have a Mercy, right? So this is one of the reasons why Mercy is really strong. You straight up have to kill more people than the enemy team. And if both teams don't have a Mercy, that's just like a huge disparity. Plus the ability to like undo picks is like a big thing. Because like imagine somebody gets killed over here because they're fucking around. Well, you just undo that as Mercy, and that's great. Anna is also really good because she is the highest output healer in the game, so she makes it very hard for people to get killed as well, just by healing them. And she's one of the heroes that has more agency over the game than the other supports, because she has the sleep dart, which is very impactful, the grenade is very impactful, her ultimate is impactful if on the right people. And Moira has... I'm dying. Moira has the best of both worlds, where she's very high healing output, has her ultimate a fucking lot, and she gets to do damage to people. So Moira is also very good at having agency over the game, but she's the hardest healer to play, so there's that as well. As Zenyatta, there's very little we can do about what's happening, because our options for stopping people dying are use Transcendence or kill the person that's killing them. And, neither of those options have been great throughout this game. It's like, Mercy is just really strong. I just really recommend playing Mercy. So we're dead. We're our team's only healer. So this fight is destined for failure. They're just going in to die because they have no healer with them right now. It's just not going to work. Somebody is saying to go right now, even though literally 2 people will be going into 6 people. It's just not going to work. It's just not... there's really not a lot we can do. Did we just turn voice chat off altogether? I still didn't see it. Did we just turn it off altogether? So, I would recommend it. Oh, open mic, I see. We can't hear what you're saying. This is a very common issue with recordings. I can never hear what the person is saying. Because, I think most people record through Shadowplay. Shadowplay is weird like that. So, we've got Transcendence. That's cool. Let's be real. We're not getting this point. I do firmly believe that if you capture the first point on a 2CP map, and you have, like, 6 minutes left over, if you don't catch it in, like, the first 3 minutes, you're not catching it, because your team is, like, tilted, blah, 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 just doing stupid shit by that point. It just doesn't work. So, Hanzo's over there. He's dead. Widow died, but she got revived by Mercy. Now we've killed their Bastion. That's his name. Yeah. So, this is the best opportunity we have. However, Roadhog informed us that he would like if we didn't have that team fight anymore, and then Mercy revived Bastion. So now it's all been undone, and now we're fighting them. We have like 4 people. So, it's not really gonna work out. We're trying to kill Widowmaker, which is not really what, Zenyatta is good at doing. So, no healer is really good at killing Widowmaker. Zenyatta's got better odds than some, because he has no fall-off on his weapon, but no, we weren't going to win that fight. We had the opportunity to win when Bastion died, but Roadhog's ult is really good at denying a team fight from actually starting. And then Mercy revived the Bastion and used Valkyrie, so we weren't going to win. So, however, we didn't win the battle, but we will win the war, because they lose, because they're bad. This is the great, like, look at that. Can you believe? I mean, you probably can, because we've got a Bastion and a Torbjorn and they're bad, but, like, look at that team. That's a legendarily bad team composition right there. We still win. So, like, there's really not much we could have done in that first round, unless we're just gonna kill a bunch of people back to back to back. There's just not a lot you can do as Zenyatta in that situation. Your team's getting fucked, and you've only got so many options to save them as Zenyatta. The best you can do is just change to another healer. Like, one of the main healers, basically. Lucio would be an equally terrible decision. Lucio would be worse than Zenyatta, to be fair. Lucio would be the absolute worst thing you could pick. But, like, really the only advice for the first round is change it to a different healer, because there's only so much Zenyatta can do. Unless you're gonna kill a lot of people, it's really hard to carry as Zenyatta, especially as the solo healer. Whereas if you're playing a main healer, the way you win the game is just like, if you're playing Mercy, you win because your team never dies, right? And the enemy team is bad at killing people. If you're Ana, you win by making sure people on your team don't die, and by denying the enemy team certain things. For example, Ana is very good against Bastion because you can trank the Bastion. This is the same reason Roadhog is really good against Bastion. You can remove him from turret form, which is a big deal. And you make it hard for people to kill people, and then, like, it doesn't matter how bad the Genji is, if you nano boost him while he's using Dragon Blade, he's going to win the fight, because it's basically automatic at that point. And Moira does a lot of healing, and does a lot of damage, but Moira's hard to play. Like, Zenyatta, the way you win as Zenyatta in that situation, the way you capture that point, is you kill a fucking lot of people. You gotta just keep killing them, and that's the only way you win the round in that position. If you're playing Mercy, you can revive a bunch of people, you can make it so your team never dies. Ana can deny the enemy team stuff and make sure your team doesn't die, and Moira can make sure your team doesn't die and kill the enemy team. Zenyatta, like, you have so few options. Your options are ult or kill people, and that's it. And it's really hard to kill people as Zenyatta unless the enemy team is really bad. And the enemy team is really bad, but they're not bad enough to just be walking around in open space and let you kill them, right? So, it's not necessary, you know, the idea is probably like, how could I have won this game as Zenyatta? I mean, you win this game as Zenyatta, but like, how could I have done better in this game as Zenyatta? Change to a different hero, honestly. And we really don't have to do anything during this round. You might have noticed that things looked like they were going really badly. But then they just stopped being bad suddenly because the enemy team is worse than us. This is the great equalizer in Overwatch. The enemy team can always be worse than your team. Doesn't matter how bad your team is, the enemy team can always be worse. Similar to how there's always a bigger fish, there's always a worse player. Can you imagine the theoretical worst player in the world? It's like... It's something that's hard to even imagine. Like, Winston's not allowed to do this. He's diving into the point by himself versus a Bastion. Our Bastion just killed himself on the Genji behind us, and now Genji's using Dragon Blade. It's okay, we've got Transcendence, and Torbjorn has Molten Core. So they just now lose the fight. Do they have a healer? Yes, they have 2 healers. In fact, they have Ana and Mercy. But their team is just so bad. Like, Bastion, like... They're so bad, they don't know what to do against Bastion and Torbjorn. Winston's just diving in here by himself on the Bastion and getting killed by the Bastion, to no one's surprise. Except Winston, he was probably surprised about it. But, like, we just sit here on the point, we put orbs on people, and that's basically it. And there's not... We don't have to do very much. The enemy team does all the work for us in this round. We just sit here and we are contributing... But our contribution has to be incredibly minor. And this is the thing with climbing in Overwatch as well, is more often than not, you have to just grind out a lot of games, because there's, depending on how you look at it, there's the 40-20-40 rule, or the 33-33-33 rule. And the theory goes that you will win 40% of the games you play through no input of your own. Because the enemy team will have a lever, someone will troll, your team is going to play amazingly, the enemy team is going to play badly, whatever. And then you will lose 40% of your games for the same reason, but on your end, someone on your team is going to leave, going to throw, the enemy team is going to play fantastically, someone on your team is going to play really badly. And then the remaining 20% of the time is the games that you personally have the potential to impact the outcome of. So, it's like this game, looks like we were going to win this game no matter what happened. Because we didn't actually have to do anything, right? And we had very limited options to actually really do anything better. Because most of it was simply out of our hands. The first checkpoint that we captured, we had no input in, and we didn't need to have any input in. Because Reaper killed Bastion. Then Bastion didn't get revived, and the rest of our team were able to just, like, go in before the enemy team could recover, and the enemy team played it badly. And then we couldn't capture the second checkpoint, and there was very little we could do to capture the second... I like how Hanzo just stopped moving. And there was very little we could do to capture the second checkpoint, as Zenyatta anyway. Maybe if we change to a different hero, things go differently, we'll never know. Happened in an alternate timeline. And, like... Then, second, on our defense, let's be real, we didn't do anything, right? Like, we ulted the one time Genji used Dragon Blade, and that was good, and that was all we had to do. That was, like, the moment where we could have thrown the game, where we could have, like, if we didn't Transcendence in time, we might have lost the round, right there. But even then, maybe not, because Torbjorn still had Molten Core, which is a really strong ultimate, especially if the enemy team is bad. So it's like, we were gonna win this game. No matter what we did, basically. It was going to be extremely difficult for us to lose because it kind of just happened and there wasn't very much we could do about it. It's just how it is sometimes. I firmly believe the only thing we could have done better during this game really was change to a different hero. Could we have done things slightly better as Zenyatta? Yes, our positioning could have been a little bit better. We could have aimed better, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of this affected the outcome of the game. There was like, we didn't put Discord on somebody before we used Transcendence. Yeah, there's stuff that could have been better in the game, but like, realistically, there wasn't that much we could have done. There was like, things we could have done better, but like, nothing earth-shatteringly huge in all likelihood. Unless we were going to actually channel the spirit of God himself and just kill the entire enemy team. There was nothing better we could have done, really. Like game impacting. Just change to a different hero. Like, the thing is that, like, no one wants to be the bitch that picks the solo healer, like the solo main healer, but, like, you have to do it in that circumstance, because really you should have lost this game. Like, realistically, picking Zenyatta in this situation should have lost you the game. But it didn't end up losing you the game because the enemy team was worse than your team collectively. Because Zenyatta is not a solo healer. He's terrible at solo healing. And our team had 3 tanks on it for an extended period of time, which is just even worse for Zenyatta. And then it's like, they had a Mercy the entire time. That alone should make it really unlikely that you're going to win the game, because Mercy is, like, that strong, that if your team doesn't have one and theirs does, you just have a lower chance of winning. Like, picking Zenyatta as the solo healer in this situation should have lost you the game. But it didn't, because the enemy team was worse. So, if you're going to solo heal, you really, really want to pick a main healer, and it should really be Mercy. Maybe you don't like playing Mercy. A lot of people don't like playing Mercy, but, like, it really should be Mercy, because Mercy is just very strong. But bare minimum, it should be, like, Ana or Moira. It shouldn't be Zenyatta, and it shouldn't be Lucio, because they can't solo heal. But the enemy team was worse, so it went unpunished. Nice. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.